These are the assembly instructions for the card tower. These are all the pieces that you'll get for one card tower, but do note that when you do get them in your package, there'll probably be a big stack of them because you'll be making 6 that go inside of either the bunny keep that you ordered or the bunny box. Do note that we highly recommend that you use wood glue while assembling these. I won't be using wood glue for this assembly, just for the sake of being able to get through this a little bit quicker. So you won't have to wait and watch as the glue is drying. So let's get started. One thing to note for this back wall piece, make sure that the part that has our logo there is faced down, or at least towards the back whenever you're doing your build. And if you did get etches, the etches will be on the inside on this side here. So the first thing I like to do, and as I mostly like to do for most of our sets, I like to place the pieces that need to be plugged into any kind of a wall first. And so we're going to take this, what will be the floor of the card tower, the floor as far as like the card holder, and basically connect it to one of the side walls. The direction that you want to be assembling these is this card holder piece. You want to make sure that this kind of U shape that's cut out is faced towards the front. And then the side wall, the front will also be indicated by a flat edge. Do note that there are 2 pieces that look very similar, but one has a little notch on the end and one has a notch towards the middle. I'm using this as what will eventually be our left wall. All right, so we'll just put that inside. And one thing to note too, when you are putting the glue, feel free to place them inside those notches in there. All right. The second one, this is going to be the top piece of the card tower. And so I'm going to place it again with this part that has the little U cut out on top. Is going to be facing towards the front of the card tower, which is going to be along this front, this side that has no notches and it's just flat. And so this piece here is actually going to insert on this lower part. There's 2 notches here. It's going to insert in that lower part and then in these 3 spots right in here. If you want to be a little creative with the glue, you could. You can either just kind of glue all along on the inside here, or maybe dab a couple pieces of glue right in there. Then also glue on the inside notches there. As long as you're hitting the inside notches on one or both, you don't need to do both at the same time. But kind of choose either one, you should be good to go. All right. And those clicking sounds are good and normal. Doesn't mean things are cracking or breaking. You want to hear that. There should be a good snap inside them. All right. So the third thing we're going to do is we're actually going to attach the other side of the wall, the other side wall. And again, you want to note that the front that has not only the other side wall that's flat, but also the little U shapes pointing towards the front. So on when we're attaching the other side wall, we want to make sure that this is the flat side that's facing towards the front. And do also notice too, one thing I could have pointed out is that this lower piece is going to be in a slight incline, because when the cards are placed inside of there, we want the cards to actually have a little bit of gravity, so they're intentionally not falling out every time that when you're moving them around. All right, so let's attach that other side piece. And normally where I place the glue is inside the notches here, along inside here. And then we'll take this being the top, the side, and this is the part that we're doing towards the card holder piece there. All right, so I first usually like to line up to make sure when I've got multiple pieces going in, kind of first before I put any kind of pressure, kind of get a good soft line up in there. And then I'll just kind of choose one start from one end and then kind of work down my way from left, right, up or down, whatever direction you happen to be doing it. And then I'll do the same thing for this one here, kind of line up all the holes, make sure it's in line with the notches, and then just kind of work my way down. Now you'll want to make sure to put the pressure there right where the notches are, because you don't want to put pressure where there's no wood, because there's a potential that you might crack it. It's strong wood, but you can tell it's thin, so make sure that when you are putting the pressure is on the joints. All right, now that we've done that part, we're gonna place the back wall. And so basically what you'll see is we can put glue all along the back here, which is gonna be this back sides of this two side walls, and then also on this top piece here. And the only thing you'll wanna note is when you're placing the back wall, if you have etching, make sure the etching is reading up and down remember this is the top. Without the etching, if you want our logo to be on the outside, make sure that's reading up and down, facing up and down. No one's going to judge you, but maybe a little bit if you did assemble it this way, you could. But you know, if you at least want to be able to read things right side up, I'd recommend doing it that way. All right, and then the last part of this is going to be the floor. The floor piece looks a little odd, but just when you do eventually assemble it, the design was meant so that when you do see them, and we can show in another video all together, they will line up so that they aren't overlapping one another, and they actually can sit next to each other when they're in the bunny keep and the bunny box. So again, what I would recommend is on the bottom part of this, the side wall, the back wall, and the other side wall, just place a little bit of glue on the inside. And then very carefully place this right on to the card tower. Now, normally I like to actually use a table or another piece to kind of help with support. But the one thing that I did avoid on this one, and it might take a little bit more time, is I did keep it elevated in my hands, and only because it's a little unstable when putting that piece in. You could do it. I would just recommend being very careful, because again, it's just only standing on two pieces there. But you could always kind of stand on its end and kind of use thumb and index finger maybe to press it in and make sure it's strong, secure, and intact. It looks like we are good to go on this piece. And so ultimately, this is going to be our card tower.